Oh, sorry, you've just caught me in the middle of my daily decanting. This is I, Lord Pendlebury, and welcome to Evolution Sim Racing. This week we're going to be doing some racing. Actually, what we're doing, I'm actually recording this within a day or two of when we actually did it. So strange that I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, it was the Indy whatever those cars are. The entry Indy cars, and we were at Mosport, a fantastic racetrack. I think you'll all agree, unless you don't like it. But yeah, anyway, we'll crack on with those highlights. I don't have much more else to say other than if you would like to come and join us, if you're looking for a racing league on iRacing, then we are that league. Got some reasons over there. We've got a website down there, evolutionsimracing.com, and at some point I'll add in our Instagram handle as well as our TikTok handle, so you can follow us on there as well. But at the moment I don't know what they are off the top of my head. Something about Evolution Sim Racing is probably a fair guess. But yeah, anyway, we'll crack on with this week's highlights. Well, hello then, and welcome to the beautiful ribbon of track that is Mosport. We are in somewhere in Canada. I frankly cannot remember where we are in Canada. I don't think I ever knew. Whilst it might be an attractive track to drive, the track map itself does look like my toddler's attempt at drawing a pig, i.e. it looks nothing like a pig but is quite ugly. And I've just realised, fuck's sake, I've got Portimao. That should be Mosport. There we go. No, not Mosport. That's. I know I said it looks like a rough approximation of a pig, but it doesn't really. There we go, Mosport. Christ, I've fucked this intro up, haven't I? Let's go take a look at the grid. We're really working against the time now. So Will Thomas, he took probably his fourth pole position of the season. He's done very well this season out of pole positions. Jeff Sharp joins him on the front row of the grid. It's then Lord Pendlebury and Jamie Nicholson. They share the second row, with Steve Moore and first of the AM category, Steve Everson, on the third row. Mickey Dolan, he was second in class, with Axel Edwards in third and Brian Dodd in fourth. And then Chris Hulse, sixth in class, 10th on the grid though. He's got it all to do. But with his pro status, I'm sure he'll have no trouble doing that at all. Right then, let's get down trackside and feast upon the magnificence that may have been these races. Well, here we go then. Safety car will peel in to the pit lane on the right hand side. There it goes. Now it's on Will Thomas to decide when to go. And go is now. He's on the inside. Jeff Sharp still on his outside. They make it through all unscathed so far though. Oh, that is somebody looking like they are running out wide there. That was Mickey Dolan. He drops down into last place in category. Chris Hulse has made no headway so far, still running in 10th overall, and is 4 seconds off the back of Steve Moore in 5th in the pro class. Doesn't look it on screen, but it is a tricky old corner. Moss. And it looks like Chris Hulse has now made some progress. I think we heard it. It sounded like Mickey Dolan just got the gear change slightly wrong. He will get some slipstream as they head down towards the thing, wherever we are, whatever turn this is. I'm not sure what it's called. Oh, and movements have been made in the pro category. That is Pendlebury, and he is now ahead of Jeff Sharp, but Jeff Sharp is not going to allow this to stand. He is going to do what he can to get back past Pendlebury. Nothing so far, though. Looks like Sharp's got a decent run on Pendlebury here. Tricky place to do your overtaking, though, and opts against it. Pendlebury looks like he got on the grass a little bit there. Manages to get away with it though. Let's jump on board with Pendlebury and take a look back at Jeff Sharp. There he is, framed nicely in the rear wing. So what looks like Sharp is a little bit closer this time round as they head all the way down to turn 8. And you can see there, Pendlebury goes defensive. Sharp looking around the outside. Can he make it stick? Oh, he can, and it was very, very close on that front left and rear right of Sharp. But Sharp makes the move stick. Back up into second place. This, of course, is an absolutely critical battle in the championship. These two have got the lead all to themselves and need to try and sort it out amongst themselves. This one does matter. Jeff Sharp has been on a good run of outscoring Pendlebury in recent weeks. Well, I'll tell you what, Mickey Dolan, he has been closing in on Brian Dodd. Looks to make the move. He's well out on the outside, sweeps around the outside, and that is up into P3 in category. Brian Dodd looks up the inside, but can't make anything stick. Oh, and that is somebody over by the wall, and both of them then promoted up a position. Mickey Dolan in second, Brian Dodd in third, because Axel Edwards has lost it coming out of the final turn. Not sure if he's picked up any damage. Let's see if we can actually have a look at his car. Doesn't look damaged, but that unfortunately has dropped him down. Back to the pro category then, and the battle between Pendlebury and Sharp rages on. Pendlebury looks to the inside and sweeps through. Sharp looking to see if he can hang it around the outside, and he does send it up the inside. Oh, they're so close. Somehow manages to make it work. Pendlebury up into second place again. You feel that this battle is just going to rumble on all the way through this race. Oh, well, news just in. Where is he? Axel Edwards. Wow, he's not there. He's not over there as well. He might be over there. He might be leaving the track, but he is a lap down. He is retired from this race, unfortunately. We are exactly halfway through this one, so let's stop looking at some pretty terrible graphics. And, oh, hello. We say that, but it looks like Pendlebury is a little bit wide there, and he has killed his momentum. Jeff Sharp reclaims second place in the pro category. But Pendlebury very, very close to Jeff Sharp. We will do a rundown of where we are in just a second. However, we'll just see how this battle pans out at this point. Pendlebury on the outside, Sharp on the inside. Has Pendlebury managed to get ahead enough? Looks like he may have. He has. Reclaims second place. This really is a titanic battle between these two. Really an extension of the battle that has just raged on all season long. But yes, now whilst things have seemingly settled down, let's take a look at Will Thomas. He is dominating this one. Frankly, he has been dominating the second half of this season. He has just had the pace on the entire field, but he has competed in 4 less races. He is trying to drag himself into the championship battle, but whether or not he can do that remains to be seen. But he leads the way in this one, 4 seconds to the good over Pendlebury and Sharp. Then Jamie Nicholson, he's in 4th place. He's been keeping a watching brief on the Pendlebury and Sharp battle. One probably hoping that they just take each other out and he can claim second place. We then have Steve Moore. He's a little way further back. And Chris Hulse has been working his way through the AM category like a knife through butter, but hasn't been able to close that gap, particularly on Steve Moore. He is 15 seconds behind. Then in the pro category, someone that is equally as dominant at the moment is Steve Everson. He is ending Chris Palmer's onslaught tonight, because Chris Palmer's not here to maintain it, I suppose. But he is seemingly every time I look at the gap, he is pulling it further and further to second place. It is currently Brian Dodd, because Mickey Dolan, I think, whilst I've been talking about this, has also gone into the pit lane. So not sure what's gone on there. Well, this is what happened to Axel Edwards then. He just loses the rear of the car, goes all the way around, and oh no, he's Chris Hulsed it. He has got beached on the inside and trying to find reverse, trying to find first gear to jiggle it off, but he can't, and unfortunately that is why Axel Edwards ended up retiring from this one. Pendlebury stays offensive on the right-hand side. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do a huge amount to defend against Sharp, though. He's still there on the inside, though, once they get to the corner. Maintaining that inside line. But Sharp will then have the inside for turn 9. And he claims that second place. Pendlebury right up behind him, though. That's not the right nose we want to look at. This is the nose we want to look at, because very close behind Jeff Sharp as they head onto the 18th lap of this race. Pendlebury's got a better run through there. Oh, very close to that rear left of Jeff Sharp. He's on the outside line now, though. It really is a fantastic camera angle for just getting just how sweeping and flowing this track is in nature. And if Pendlebury can get a decent run through Moss here, he should have a decent run. And it's not bad. He should be with Sharp by the time they get to the end of this straight. You can see the closing speed. It really ramps up once you get under 0.3 of a second. He pulls to the inside. He's got the momentum, and he is past Sharp again, trading positions lap after lap here, these two. Mickey Dolan then had an instant, just gets on the grass and then fires into the barriers. And who was that? That was very lucky. I think it was Brian Dodd. Somehow managed to avoid the spinning Mickey Dolan, but that car is an absolute mess. They'll struggle to get that back together for race 2. Wow, looks like Jamie Nicholson has decided to come out and play. He has, as we said earlier, just been maintaining a watching brief on this battle, but as we close in to the very final stages of this race, he is just half a second behind Jeff Sharp, maybe looking to nab a position or two. And frankly, this could actually be the last lap, I think. Charging down towards Moss now. Sharp maintaining a very close... Well, and Pendlebury a little bit squirrely as they come out of Moss. And confirmation, this is the last lap. What can Jeff Sharp do? He's easily close enough to at least make a battle of it going into the final 3 corners. Will Thomas crosses the line to take the lead, but Sharp all the way around the outside there. What can Pendlebury do, if anything at all, to come back at him before the line? Gets a decent run through the exit of the final turn, but it's not good enough. Only 0.07 of a second separate them in the end. Where are you, Will Thomas? There he is, claims the victory in the pro category. Wasn't ever troubled, really. There's Steve Everson coming through the final turn. He will claim the victory in the AM category by a staggering 30. Well, it's going to be over 40 seconds. I don't know. Maybe it will be over 40 seconds. It's over 38 seconds at the moment, though. Very nicely done, Steve Everson. Well, let's take a look at those results then. Firstly, starting off with the pro category. Will Thomas. Oh, you'll also notice that I've finally added the number of points you get for each position over on the right-hand side there as well. So yeah, there we go. So yes, as we say, Will Thomas, he has taken the victory, 6.5 seconds back to Jeff Sharp, and as we said, only 0.07 of a second between Jeff Sharp and Pendlebury. That was a titanic race-long battle worthy of any championship. We then had Jamie Nicholson. He was in 4th place, with Steve Moore in 5th and Chris Hulse in 6th place. And taking a look at the AM category, Steve Everson then won, and it was over 40 seconds in the end, to Brian Dodd in 2nd place. Mickey Dolan ended up 2 laps down, and Axel Edwards retired 13 laps from the end. Well, as ever then, we will take a quick break and be back with the highlights of the feature race very shortly. Well, hello then, and welcome back to Mosport for round 15 of the Evolution Sim Racing Season 4 2024 Championship. It's amazing that I can't ever say that in a good way. But yes, it is the feature race here at Mosport. 45 minutes mandatory pit stop. You can take tyres, and it will only cost you in the region of 2 to 3 seconds. So it'll be interesting to see how many people decide to take tyres and how many people will not do that. Now let's take a quick look at the grid. That's absolutely useless because that's not the order they're starting in. So let's ignore the grid and go and play everybody's favourite game. It is, of course, Guess the Livery. Is that? Oh no, that's not going to work. Why is Steve Everson reversing? That's not useful. There's only 9 of them. This can't be that difficult to do. There we go. There's a front shot. So on pole position, then I believe that is Chris Hulse. I can't remember which side goes first here at Mosport. I think it is Chris Hulse on pole with Steve Moore alongside him. It's then Jamie Nicholson with Will Thomas alongside him on the second row of the grid. It's then Lord Pendlebury with championship leader Jeff Sharp, 6 in the pro category. And by the looks of things, only 2 have gridded up at least. So Brian Doyle on pole and Steve Everson is second for the AM category. We do hope to see Mickey Dolan out on track, but I frankly can't remember whether he made it out or not. So yeah, anyway, let's crack on with the race start. Well, Chris Hulse then waits for the pace car to go in, and that was almost as late as that NASCAR pace car the other weekend. And he's done very well there. Chris Hulse leads the way in fine fashion. Jamie Nicholson already up into 3rd place. That is at the expense of... Oh no, maybe he was... No, he was in 3rd place already. So he's maintained 3rd place. They swing a left around the long left-hander of Clayton Corner. I was only today years old. Oh, haven't it? Will Thomas is alongside Jamie Nicholson, trying to make it through. All very busy as they head down towards Moss. Picking their way through there. It's a tricky old corner, Moss. But if you get a decent run, it gives you a good chance as you head down towards... I don't know, whatever turn 8's called. It isn't actually called anything by the looks of things, so we'll just call it turn 8. That is Will Thomas diving to the inside of Jamie Nicholson. And he gets that move done very decisively indeed. Now has Steve Moore for company. Chris Hulse, in the meantime, has run off up the road. 1 lap in the book then. Let's bring up some race information. And that is a sparse-looking AM category. Steve Everson leading the way, with Brian Dodd 7/10 of a second behind. All starting to trip over each other a little bit in the pro category. Will Thomas impatient to get on with things. Jamie Nicholson, despite being passed by him, not willing to let him just get away with it. Oh, and that's Will Thomas into the back of Steve Moore, and Steve Moore goes round. Everybody avoids him. Will Thomas will surely have picked up some damage from that. He does inherit 2nd place, but you would have to say if we operated penalties here at Evolution Sim Racing, that would be a bit of a slam dunk. Now, things are slightly different for this race. The fuel limit was not placed, so the drivers do have a bit more free rein on when they want to pit. 6 laps, or at the end of the 6th lap, I believe, was what was decided on. So we could see pit stops throughout this one, or at least from the 6th lap onwards. Jamie Nicholson applying considerable amounts of pressure to the back end of Will Thomas here. Pendlebury looking to make hay as well. He knows that in that battle with Jeff Sharp in the championship, he needs to start outscoring him. He hasn't done for a little while.
And confirmed on the team radios then, Will Thomas has picked up some front end damage. That is restricting his ability to get up the road. Can Jamie Nicholson, Pendlebury and Jeff Sharp perhaps capitalise on this? Will Thomas perhaps going to be saved by the fact that early pit stops are a feature in this race. Normally he'd have to try and fight off the onslaught of attacking cars for at least another 20 minutes. This time round though, he's only really got to wait for another 5 minutes or so. I'll tell you what, there's barely 0.3 of a second separating Thomas and Pendlebury, and in between them is Jamie Nicholson. He is somehow managing to hold them off all this time. Jeff Sharp is there in the background as well, perhaps as Jamie Nicholson was in the first race, maybe just holding off, just hoping that they all get on top of each other and it causes carnage. Chris Hulse has been slowly eking out the gap. That lead is now up at 2.6 seconds. He's increased it by half a second in the last couple of laps. But I tell you what, Will Thomas manages the most important part of the track, coming onto the Andretti straight. He gets a really good exit out of Moss. Pendlebury looking up the inside of Jamie Nicholson here then. Oh, we don't want to see that though, apparently. And Pendlebury goes through. That is a crucial move. And there at the end of lap 6, as suggested, that is Jamie Nicholson. No, it's not. It's not Jamie Nicholson at all. That is Will Thomas pulling into the pits to get the repairs done. Jamie Nicholson also went into the pits then after Pendlebury had just got past him. Now, the question is, at the end of this lap, who is going to respond? Will Pendlebury look at going into the pits to cover off, or perhaps try and get the overcut on Will Thomas? Will Jeff Sharp? And what will Chris Hulse do? His lead has already gone down by a full second. If he wants to come out in the lead of this one, he should perhaps consider boxing now. Jeff Sharp's now right on the back of Pendlebury as well as they head down towards turn 8. Pendlebury stays defensive. Sharp going to look to send it all the way around the outside. Can't get it done though. Now, will either of them box this lap? They will indeed. That's Pendlebury into the pits, looking to cover off Jamie Nicholson and Will Thomas. There's Jeff Sharp. I tell you who we should really be watching. That is Will Thomas and Jamie Nicholson. There's Will Thomas, Jamie Nicholson in the background. And there is Pendlebury coming out of the pit lane. This is going to be close. Side by side. And through goes Will Thomas. And moves in the AM category. Mickey Dolan is indeed on track. He is battling away with Brian Dodd. Oh, Brian Dodd onto the grass. Runs a little bit wide. Mickey Dolan kept an eye on it. Oh, he's onto the grass again there, Dodd. He'll have a decent run. Going into turn 1, Mickey Dolan, but nothing that he can do about it. Now takes a look to the inside, and now he goes through as they head around and down the left-hander of Clayton Corner. Back to the pro category, we've got Jeff Sharp lining up Chris Hulse on the Andretti straight. Take a look from the blimp and see what we can see. Fortunately not completely blocked out by trees, and you can see that closing speed. Within 0.3 of a second, you just rocket up onto the car ahead of you. Can he? Well, where the fuck have they gone? There they gone. Jeff Sharp, your connection fucked me over there. And up the inside he goes. Chris Hulse held onto the lead for nearly 10 laps there. But he has now lost it to Jeff Sharp. The question is, can Jeff Sharp now pump in the lap times that will give him the lead? And equally, will Will Thomas and Pendlebury be able to pump in the lap times that keep them ahead of him? Well then, just over half distance in this one. And we can see there, Jeff Sharp still leading the way, but hasn't pitted. And I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll bring up the pit information to see exactly who has pitted. Well, first 3 in the pro category, Sharp, Hulse and Moore, haven't pitted yet. And the bottom 3, Thomas, Pendlebury and Nicholson, have pitted. In the AM category, Steve Everson has, well, everyone's pitted. Mickey Dolan has gone for the very bold strategy of the 3-stopper. Doesn't seem to be doing well for him as he still is 32 seconds off the back of Steve Everson. But crucially, it's almost like I knew this was going to happen, and I actually didn't. Jeff Sharp has gone in for his pit stop, so let's go and take a look at Will Thomas. Because Will Thomas is the man that he's going to be looking to be. Oh, that's not the right camera. That's not going well. Well, Will Thomas goes straight through and past Jeff Sharp. So Jeff Sharp has been pumping in the laps, but not in a quick enough manner. Let's go and take a look at Pendlebury. He's coming around there. And where's Jeff Sharp? There he is coming out the pit. So Pendlebury emerges ahead of him. Crucial for the championship there. But there's a difference in strategy here. Pendlebury hasn't taken tyres. Jeff Sharp has done well. So whilst he has come out on cold tyres, which will no doubt take 2 or 3 laps to warm up, he'll lose time to Pendlebury over the course of the next couple of laps. But he then should start coming back at Pendlebury when those tyres start coming into their own. Well, rumour has it that Steve Everson has had a crash, but he's still 28 seconds ahead of Mickey Dolan. And there doesn't appear to be any damage on his car particularly, so I suspect he may have had a spin down at Moss. If that is the case, I won't bother with the replay. I mean, I know there's not a lot going on in this race, but frankly, the amount of effort versus payoff is not worth it, for me at least. So, yeah, just know that Steve Everson has had a crash. Well, unfortunately, this race has been very dull, and we're already at the closing stages because I've cut a hell of a lot of it out. But this battle, the one we predicted earlier, new tyres versus old tyres, Jeff Sharp has eventually closed the gap to Pendlebury, and you feel like it is just a matter of time before he gets past. Pendlebury also been on the blower to his pit crew. Allegedly he is playing it fast and loose with the amount of fuel he's got left, so some fuel saving may well need to be coming in as well. Holding on to second place at the moment, though, as we have impressed in the highlights throughout this highlights package. This battle is crucial for the championship. Jeff Sharp just needs to keep on eking out that points gap to Pendlebury. Pendlebury needs every point that he can get. Steve Moore also making a race of it with Chris Hulse. These two were close together just before they boxed. Steve Moore had been closing that gap, and this time, whilst he came back out of the pits a bit far ahead of Chris Hulse, a bit far behind Chris Hulse, I should say. Oh no, well that's going to end that battle. Out wide he goes across the grass, and decisions then almost certainly decided then in 5th and 6th place in the pro category. That will be disappointing to Steve Moore. Jeff Sharp back onto the Andretti straight and back onto the back end of Lord Pendlebury. Pendlebury opts not to defend, sees if he can hang it around the outside, but he can't. You can see the superior grip there. Oh, there's some pretty tragic attempts at bird animation. I mean, I love iRacing as much as the next iRacer, but if you're going to put that little effort into the animation for a flock of birds, don't fucking bother with them. Nobody is not buying iRacing because of the lack of birds. Oh, there they are again. Fucking hell. Absolute horseshit. Well, we jump on board then with Will Thomas. He has not raced in every race this season, but in the races that he has raced in, he has been pretty dominant and plucks another victory from the Victory Superstore. So that will do his championship the world of good. I'm pretty confident everyone would have said he's got no chance at all of competing in this championship. However, keep on winning races like this. That gap has been closing. He's been consistently outscoring Sharp and Pendlebury. To be honest, I am just filling time here whilst we wait for Steve Everson to come across the line in what must be described as the worst turned out race of the season in the AM category, and in a season of races where they didn't race very close together, this has to be the furthest one apart. Steve Everson in first. Mickey Dolan comes next. He's 3 laps behind, and then Brian Dodd retired 23 laps from the end. So yeah, apologies, AM category, that you didn't really feature much, particularly in the feature race highlights or in the. Well then, let's take a look at those results. And firstly, in the heavily populated AM Championship, Steve Everson took the win with 25 points. Mickey Dolan ahead of Brian Dodd in second place, and Brian Dodd in third. Mickey Dolan and particularly Brian Dodd were sat on that podium waiting for quite a while. And then taking a look at the pro results, Will Thomas, as we've said, takes the victory. Jeff Sharp in second, beating Lord Penderbury in the final couple of laps. Jamie Nicholson was in fourth, with Chris Holt in fifth and Steve Moore in sixth. Taking a look then at the current point standings, and this time we are starting with the AM category. Now, whilst there were not many people racing tonight, that did mean the people that were racing got the opportunity to score big on the points front, and that has certainly happened at the top of the championship, because Chris Palmer going into this one was leading the way, but as you can see there, he is now languishing 46 points behind Steve Everson. That is a massive point swing. It was then Axel Edwards. He could have jumped Chris Palmer had he raced tonight as well, but sadly not. He is on 206 points, 34 points behind Chris Palmer in second. Mickey Dolan then, he's in fourth, with Brian Dodd then in fifth. Trav Dorado, he's in sixth on 83 points, with Paul Nicholson then in seventh on 68. Josh Morris is in eighth on 53 points. And taking a look at the pro standings then, Jeff Sharp has extended his lead at the top there. He's on 295 points, Penderbury in second on 268 points. And as we said, Will Thomas is slowly creeping up on Sharp and Penderbury, because whilst he hasn't raced in all the races this season, he is consistently finishing ahead of Sharp and Penderbury, so he continues to close that gap. It's then a gap of roughly 70 points back to Jamie Nicholson. He's on 153, and then it's just 8 points back to Steve Moore in fifth. Chris Hulse, he's in 6th place on 123 points, with Dan Slattery then in 7th on 107 points, just 2 points ahead of James Hello in 8th on 105 points. Well, thank you very much for joining us as ever. If you've got this far and you've seen some of that and you thought, oh, I can certainly add to that grid, or at least rob some points from people, then do come along, evolutionsimracing.com, and yeah, you will be more than welcome to join us. Anyway, next week we are going to be heading to Portimao, and we're going to be in the GT4s, and rumour has it the weather could well be wet, so let's see what goes down there. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, watching, whatever you've done, and we will see you next week.